Hello, Rocklings, and welcome back to Elley Knows Rocks. This is my awesome boat ride adventure to the Lindenow Fjord. This is an absolutely amazingly long trip with beautiful scenery, amazing geology, and glaciers and icebergs everywhere. So thank you so much for being part of my adventure, and let's go see what we find. I am leaving the town of Elley on my way to Nanortalik, where I will catch a boat to the Lindenow Fjord. The boat ride was about an hour and 15 minutes long. Here I will stay the night and enjoy some Greenlandic hospitality. First off, this is my hotel room. I was told the way they do things here is like Denmark. And this is my amazing view. I have been in Greenland now for about 3 weeks, and I still can't get over how beautiful everything is. Every time I turn around, it's something new and amazing. So right now, we are here. Nanortalik. And what we're going to do tomorrow is sail or boat down here, go through the open ocean, and then we're going to cut up either here or here, and then travel up here, this fjord, this way, come all the way around out this direction, go way out and around, and then come up through here. And all of this area in this fjord, Lindenow Fjord, this is polar bear country. And so this is very, very east. And the Nanortalik Gold Belt goes, well, kind of starts up here. It goes all the way up this direction, and then kind of curves up here. And then it's in like a 50-kilometer swath, so it also kind of goes this direction, and then goes down here as well. So we'll be like center stage for the Gold Belt. This is really cool.
Are we going to get the translation for you?
Yeah.
Do you want to try it first and then I'll tell you?
No.
What do we think?
Really? So after trying some amazing Greenlandic food, of which I'd never tasted before, I went to bed, got about 2 hours of sleep, and was up bright and early at 2 a.m. to take an 8-hour boat ride in search of polar bears, beautiful glaciers, awesome icebergs, maybe some whales if I'm lucky, and to see all the beautiful geology. This area that we're going through represents huge amounts of geologic time and some of the oldest basement rocks. The era in which this happened was called the Paleoproterozoic. This is also known as the largest era in Earth's geologic history, and it was during this era that the continents first stabilized. It was during this era that the earliest global-scale continent-to-continent collision belts developed, and giant orogenies were happening, otherwise known as mountain-forming events. This area of Greenland is made up of some pretty amazing rocks, including crystalline rocks, gneissic rocks, amphibolite facies, metavolcanic rocks, mafic volcanic dikes, and areas of pegmatic pockets, and a lot of faults. I think with this video, there's a lot more to see than there is to say. I couldn't believe that I was in Greenland. This was my 3rd week here, and the grand scale of the mountains around me were just fascinating. You can see the Alpine Glacier above me, and the little waterfall coming off of it, flowing down to the fjord. I felt like royalty. It was stunning and beautiful, but you can see I'm freezing. I think I have 4 layers on. I couldn't believe I was seeing real glacier-carved features in rocks. I'd never seen that before. Sure, I guess. I've been to Yosemite. That was a lot of fun. But never on a grand scale like this. Over here, kind of right above where that other boat is, that is one of those dark mafic dikes. That's a smaller one.
What?
Shiny.
Those are, yeah, there's mica all over and garnet. This red right here, all this red is garnet. This is it's like a metamorphic sandstone almost, and there's a lot of mica in it because this used to be a pegmatite, and then it turned into a metamorphic rock, which is amazing.
I think I told you that, Ellie.
What?
Kind of, you can't keep just using and recycling my knowledge, you know.
Oh, okay.
Hello, what's his name?
Oh, it means polar bear.
Nano.
No, yeah.
Nano. Hi, Nano. Nano. Nano.
After our quick bathroom break on that awesome rock with all of the garnets in it, we head back out, and Georgia had just spotted a whale. So we all slowed down to try to find it, but it had dove under and we didn't see it again. These next few shots are going to show you a lot of the icebergs that were floating in the water. I couldn't get enough of seeing them. Everyone was completely different, and they made such a giant contrast to the geology. Speaking of contrast, this is a giant batch of volcanic rocks over some metamorphic basement rocks. And by the way, our boat is hauling it, actually. The only way that we were allowed to stay outside is if we had a life preserver on. I'm sure for insurance purposes, they didn't want us flying off the back of the boat. But it was actually one of the most comfortable spots of the boat with the least amount of jarring, was right out the back. And we had about a 270-degree view, so we could see everything, all sides behind us, and sometimes up front depending on the angle of the boat. But it made for perfect filming of the beautiful rocks and the awesome icebergs. I was told that the icebergs in the background were about the size of a giant cruise liner, kind of that size. And some of the biggest ones to come off of Greenland ice sheets can be the size of Manhattan, miles wide, a couple 100 feet tall, and can be life-threatening for some of the smaller villages in Greenland. In the summer of 2018, a giant piece of ice broke off from one of the glaciers and was threatening the little town of Narsuit. People there were fearing that the iceberg would calve too greatly or roll over, creating a tsunami that could possibly flood the town. So icebergs in some areas can be a real threat. Where we're at right now, so close to the open ocean, they're just gonna go out into the Atlantic and hopefully not puncture a ship like the Titanic. And as you can see, there are fields of icebergs. And supposedly the bluer they are, the older they are. Also, the more compact the ice is. Also, when you get an iceberg that has a bright blue line going through it, like this one does on the backside here, it's where 2 ice sheets pushed together and conjoined before the iceberg fell off. As you can see, I'm a little overly excited about all of the icebergs and the open ocean. Now we're finally getting into some ice sheets that actually touch the water. And we're going into this particular leg of the fjord because we wanted to go look for seals. Seals being one of the primary food of polar bears, our guides thought we could have a pretty good chance of actually finding polar bears. However, the fact that we had really beautiful weather is also a deterrent for looking for polar bears. This is everybody looking for little seal heads to pop up. We saw a couple seals, but no polar bears. So they took us over closer to the ice sheet instead. As we look at the geology over here, you can see one of those giant mafic dikes that swivel through the mountainside. And to the right, an alpine glacier U-shaped valley. We were told by our guides that this was a tall ship rented out of Germany, and that it was a toured actual ship. And those people on there had rented it to go up to Lindenow Fjord. Now here are some of those giant regional metamorphic rocks. We're getting closer into gold country, and so you get that nice iron staining in these metamorphic rocks, which is awesome. Gold rides an iron horse, so my fingers were crossed that we were going to get lucky up here. Since the Lindenow Fjord is in the Noordelijk Gold Belt, most of the Lindenow Fjord is actually claimed by native Greenlanders. And fun fact, the only people that can put in a claim in Greenland are actual native Greenlandic people. Nobody outside their country can stake a claim in Greenland. I definitely wish we would have had more time to actually stop and smell the roses, so to speak. Since I was on the show, and we were filming quite heavily, they were looking to get from point A to point B with the least amount of disruption. So even though I wanted to stop, I just was along for the ride. And look at the reflection of the hill in the water. Oh my gosh, I'm just now seeing this. It's beautiful. Now this is an entire swarm of mafic dikes up the side of that mountain. Also, again, the girl in the background is Georgia. She was one of the story producers on the show, and she was awesome to hang out with. She was just as excited to sit on the back of the boat as I was. Look how stunning that is. It's so big, it's so awesome. This is an absolutely breathtaking area. This rock right here has actually been studied by geologists before. In fact, I have a picture of it in one of my textbooks from college. The giant sweeping white bands and that eye right on the front give it away. I can't believe I saw it in person. Still scanning for polar bears, but look how the ice has just ground right through that rock, smoothing it out and creating that beautiful channel. There's very little rock that's actually exposed in Greenland. Ice covers 85% of the island. It's also the largest island in the world, if you guys didn't know that. And in fact, most of the ice sheets are interconnected, and the deepest ones can be over 5 miles thick. These rocks are amazing. Look at the banding and the huge pegmatitic structures and clasts. Tell me more about our feel, Chris. Oh my gosh. The plagioclase crystals are freaking huge. I mean, this is part of an iceberg that calved off of that gigantic glacier. Oh my god! Isn't it cool? Oh, it's melting, so I'm making it melt. Look how tiny the boat is!
It's so cool.
It is beautiful!
Hi, family, everybody. This is where I am. amazing. Right, Red.
You would love this, Danny. Lovely, right? They're everywhere and they're like that big. But that's worth it. Look at our polar bear dog just enjoying the front of the boat. And I feel sometimes you just don't have to say too much because the scenery says plenty. But this area was awesome. We're leaving that huge glacier, which actually, that portion of the ice sheet is quite famous, but I cannot remember why. But it's absolutely stunning, so look up the glaciers in the Lindenow Fjord if you guys haven't had enough snow by the end of this video. But what we're doing is the camera crew and filming crew are taking us to look for another spot for gold. If you guys have watched Frozen Gold, all of this area was in episode 2. I believe, or 3. Not exactly sure, I don't remember. But at the moment, I'm trying to scope out another spot to jump off the boat and go look for gold. After which, we were going to find a camping spot in one of the little outlets on the fjord. At this point in the day, I wasn't exactly feeling like myself. I was worn down because I was sick of being yelled at by the sissy I was with. But the scenery was definitely helping me recoup my composure. Now check this out.
I mean, all the loops seem like they're lining up.
45 minutes to put up a tent, people. Sometimes watching stupid
fine.
just really makes you laugh. And makes you feel better, too.
You want me to carry it over?
I am in a mossy net, or mossies. What do you guys call them? Mozzies. A mozzie net. Mosquito net. Because they want to attack you. And this is our amazing camp, and they're attacking everyone. And some people set up tents are just smarter than others. What? I think we got a ton of content, and
Who has that view? Who's camped here before? No one, actually. No one has ever camped here. This is our guide Salik helping to prepare dinner, and Georgia, our producer, filming him. And if you caught some of the Greenlandic language, it's extremely difficult to say. While I was there, I learned to speak a couple Greenlandic words. While I was here, I learned to speak a couple of Greenlandic words. Thank you, Greenak, and please, and I know I say it wrong, but Ikelshu. And look at all of the gnats and mosquitoes. There are thousands of them everywhere. And right now, remember how dry this area looks. It's about to get very different soon. Now, Georgia is about to film David taking off a drone so that they can go look at the area and get some good just general footage, or GVs of the area, general views. And so basically this means downtime. Now, if you can believe it, right about now, it's about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I've been up since 2 a.m.
I have company. I have a bar too.
you do?
Sweet.
Do you,
I have Café 44.
Now it's about 5 a.m. in the morning. I am up and getting fresh water, just enjoying the beautiful, beautiful scenery. Thank goodness there was no polar bears last night that we saw. And yeah, you can drink water right out of the streams in Greenland. There is nothing wrong with it. It's awesome, and it tastes so fresh. Brushing my teeth with the freezing cold ice water was a little bit of a different experience, especially for somebody with sensitive teeth and gums. I was a little ouchy, but it was so worth it. promptly putting on my mosquito net after doing all my stuff because they're gonna get me. I feel so incredibly grateful to be here this morning. This is an area that not even people from South Greenland visit because it's so extremely remote, and it's an experience and a chance of a lifetime to see amazing things. I'm still hoping to see a polar bear, but I feel so honored to be here. Our guide has never even slept in this fjord, and we made tent down on that beautiful beach where we had a little tsunami happen yesterday. Oh crap! Holy crap! Oh no. That was because of the calving, right? That was because of a glacier?
Yeah. That's mad.
It was amazing, but really freaking scary.
Welcome to Greenland.
And I missed the first part of this whole tsunami thing because I was going on a nature hike because I have the bladder the size of a nutshell. But as soon as I saw it and heard what was happening, I immediately ran over to the shoreline so that I could just check it out. Because of the calving of a glacier right beside us. And that big glacier last night was cracking all night so you could hear it go into the water. This is really just such a spectacular spot. Also, I was fascinated with the Greenlandic cotton. It was beautiful and made for really perfect pictures. I totally collected some. This is a polar bear track. A juvenile, so probably mom isn't too far off. About a week old. But hopefully you can see that. Pretty cool. One of our hunters and protectors found it. Trying part of whatever Salik gave us was actually part of the full experience. Oh, this is lovely. Aren't they kind of like a bitter lemony thing? Lovely. Sometimes it was a little scary, but I went with it.
That's nice.
And it actually tastes really, really good. Now, the reason that there's no volume from the original video in this is because some idiot was talking in the background. That's an awesome little green. What's it called?
What?
What's it called?
In Danish we call it sour.
Sour? Most of the greens that Greenlanders make their salad with just grow right off of the rocks, and they go out and harvest and collect them. We had quite a bunch. Loving the view of this part of a horn. Something very cool about this particular part of the geology is that the bottom of this hill is cut by a little fault. Again, if we could have stayed in these places longer, I would have been able to really go exploring for places to look for gold. But time constraints. But what is about to happen next is things that I've only seen in National Geographic videos. Or people that sit and wait for a really, really long time. The waves are making the boat rock from the carving that the glacier just did. There's little bits still falling. That big piece might fall. Oh my gosh! Look at the wave it's making! Wow! Oh, the waves are getting a little bit bigger towards us now.
How many people can say that they've seen that?
Yeah. Freaking amazing.
After all, ice is just one gigantic mineral.
All around inlets on the parts of the fjord, you'll see these old abandoned cabins. These are all original hunting cabins that somebody had when they were up here either seal hunting or polar bear hunting, way, way back when. They're still there in case of an emergency if somebody gets stranded. Still scoping for polar bears. Now this area right here is quite amazing. This is one of the tallest complete vertical points in Greenland. This mountainside right here is a straight up cliff of over 1.5 meters. One of our guides says the entire thing is nearly covered with ice during the winter, and sometimes has great waterfalls coming off of it. Pictures don't do it justice. Still in search for polar bears. But isn't it cool how we're just kind of thumping through those little pieces of ice that were falling off? The glacier beside us was also cracking, so I was hoping that it was going to calve once more, but I had no such luck. But it was beautiful just the same. Although a lot of you have heard my stories about Greenland, whether on my YouTube channel, TikTok, in person, or Instagram, even though part of it was tainted due to some unscrupulous characters, I still had the time of my life. It was literally the experience of a lifetime for me. Seeing the ice and the geologic features that very few geologists ever have was absolutely breathtaking for me. On more than one occasion, I was looking at something and would just start to cry for no reason. My deep fascination with icebergs still wasn't fulfilled. I could see them all the time, and it just seemed to never faze me. I thought they were absolutely stunning. So when I look back on this trip, I remember that 90% of the iceberg is under the water. The part that people see on top can be manipulated by all kinds of elements, and the circumstances that shape the top only affect the bottom portion a little bit. So if you remember that poster, success is the top of the iceberg, and hard work, blood, sweat, and tears is everything underneath of it. That's how I felt coming away from this trip, and nothing can take away that experience.